Now turn to part 1.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a customer and a sales assistant for a mail order company. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning. How can I help?
I'd like some help with ordering a book. I've tried your website, but it says it's offline at the moment and to call this number.
The answer is website. So website has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Good morning. How can I help?
I'd like some help with ordering a book. I've tried your website, but it says it's offline at the moment and to call this number.
Oh, yes. I do apologize. We've been having some problems with it, but I can take the order over the phone if you like.
That would be great. It's a gift, you see.
Can I take your name, please?
Yes, of course. It's Zara Freeman.
Is that Zara with an S or a Z?
With a Z. Z-A-R-A.
Just writing that down. Right. What was the title of the book you'd like me to order?
I think it's called Future Words. No, hang on. Sorry. That's Future Worlds.
Okay, just typing that in. I can't seem to find it. Do you know the name of the author? I'll do a search.
Yes, it's by a man called Richard Watson.
Watson, as in W-A-T-S-O-N.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, yes, here it is. It's only just been released. It's a self-help book, is that right?
Yes.
Now, it costs £12.99.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. How would you like to pay?
Is a debit card okay?
No, sorry. We only accept credit cards.
Oh, dear. Just let me check to see if I have it with me. Oh, yes, here it is.
Can you read me the long...
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
Right, almost done. Now I just need the delivery details.
Right, I've got my friend's address here. It's 62 Green Gardens, London, N22.
Just typing that in. 52 Green Gardens...
No, it's number 62.
Now, what kind of delivery would you like?
What are the options?
There are two. The free delivery option takes 5 days, or you can pay an extra £2.25 to have it sent out first class tomorrow. That would come to a total of £15.24p.
Well, my friend's birthday is next week, so it should get there in time with the free delivery. So I think I'll take that.
Right. That means that it will be delivered on the 21st of February, any time from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Is that okay?
Well, I know my friend leaves early for work, so would it be possible for him to pick it up from the local post office instead?
I'm afraid that won't be possible, but I could add some special instructions for it to be left with someone else, a neighbour, perhaps?
Actually, yes. I have met the old lady who lives next door, and she's bound to be home. Could you leave it with her?
Fine. I'll add that if he's not home, then the package should be left with the neighbour.
That's great. Thanks very much for your help.
My pleasure. Thank you for shopping with...
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Part 2.
You will hear an online guide giving a tour of the home of the future. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 16.
Welcome to the Homes of the Future online website. I will be your virtual guide around the homes you could soon be living in. Let's begin our tour in the bedroom. Firstly, the bed is programmed to gently rock you awake in the mornings. There'll be no more rude awakenings by an alarm clock, and it will also know what time you need to wake up, as it will get that information directly from your personal digital assistant, that is, your PDA, which will be inserted into you. Let's move to the wardrobe. Those are your musical shoes that generate music while you walk. The music will change according to how fast you're walking. Calm music for a relaxing stroll and faster beats for when you're in a hurry. You'll feel like you're walking on air. What's more, your clothes are also intelligent. They sense how you're feeling and then change colour. The fabric that they're made of also converts your body heat into a low-voltage electricity generator for some of the gadgets that are now inside you, like your PDA, for example. Moving on to the bathroom. So, after waking up, you need a shower. There's no need to turn on any taps as the house will know exactly what temperature you like the water in the mornings, though you'll still have to wash yourself. From the bathroom, we move into the kitchen. Now, we've all had that horrible feeling when you can't find your keys just as you're about to go out. Well, in the home of the future, you wouldn't need to panic. All you need to do is an internet search. All items are now programmed with a tracking device so that they will light up and signal to you where they are. Just in case the object is upstairs, the house will project its position on your fridge. Speaking of your fridge, this is now as intelligent as your clothes. Not only does it keep a record of when you're running low on everyday essentials, like milk, but it emails your local grocery store, which will deliver them for you. It can also help with planning meals if you have friends over for dinner, by moving the chicken from the freezer so that it'll thaw in time.
Before you hear the rest of the tour, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Lastly, here we are in the living area, which you'll be pleased to hear is still the heart of the family home. Let's enter the room. Now, to the left of the entrance is the main seating area, with a sofa, and directly opposite the entrance is an armchair. The sofa backs onto the wall, and the armchair faces to the left, across the coffee table, to a blank wall. So, where is the TV, I hear you ask? Well, this entire wall is the television. The whole thing is a plasma screen designed to show your TV, surf the internet, or, when it's not in use, it displays anything you want it to, from family pictures to famous works of art. On the opposite wall to the sofa is a fireplace, which still has a real fire. Nothing beats that now, does it? But the rug in front of the fire now also monitors the temperature and either opens or closes the chimney so as not to overheat the room. It still has its normal uses though. As you can see, the cat likes it very much and is curled up on it, happy as can be. What else is on offer? Well, for entertainment, the family still reads books, so there is a bookcase on the wall to the right of the entrance. But what about the computer? Well, it's inside your head and powered by those intelligent clothes you're wearing. Imagine this. As you're sitting relaxing on the armchair, you'll be able to reach out and put your hot drink on the coffee table in front of the armchair. You suddenly remember that you need to send work an email. That same coffee table, holding your cup, is also a touch-sensitive keyboard for you to type your email and then click send. All you need to do to activate it is say email, and the image of a keyboard will appear. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your tour around the home of the future and that you'll come visit again soon. Bye-bye.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Part 3.
You'll hear part of a televised question and answer session between a celebrated art critic and 3 members of the public, following a talk on outsider art. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
I think I've said enough, so now it's the turn of the audience. Would anyone like to start the ball rolling and comment on anything I said earlier in my talk? That young gentleman over there.
Hi, my name's Jake, and I've got a question for you. You referred to outsider art as being the work of self-taught rather than trained or professional artists. Does that mean anyone can produce art, then?
Well, what we define as art will always remain subjective, but given that we can agree more or less on a common perception of what is actually art, then yes, anyone in theory can produce art. The challenge, though, is to produce good art.
Excuse me, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, of course. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure, my name's Lucy.
So, Lucy, what would you like to ask?
Don't you think that untrained artists lack the necessary technique to produce good art? I felt that some of the paintings by outsider artists that you showed us earlier were, to be honest, rather crude.
I think you're confusing technique with art here. A great technique doesn't guarantee great art, you know. But I think impressive art can still be produced by gifted artists lacking in what are accepted as basic art skills. OK. Can I have another question from a member of the audience, please?
Hi, I've got a question. My name's Dave, by the way. I just wanted to ask how many outsider artists were or are recognised in their lifetime?
Relatively few. The exceptions are the ones who create particularly monumental or significant works of art, like Nekshan's sculpture garden in India or Ferdinand Cheval's fantastic building, the Palace Ideal. Both, as you know, were created purely from recycled materials.
Yeah, they were pretty amazing. I remember them from the slides you showed earlier.
But what impresses people most is not so much the sheer scale of these buildings and sculptures as the work involved. These artists built their work single-handedly over many years and, more to the point, in total secret, as they lacked planning permission. That adds to the romance of the whole undertaking, don't you think?
Well, their work certainly impressed me.
Yes, outsider art certainly produces work that is one of a kind.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, now I would like to post some questions to the audience. First, I would like to ask someone from the audience which, out of all the outsider artwork I showed you previously, is the most impressive and why.
Excuse me, may I?
Oh, yes. Hello again, Jake. So tell me, which artwork was your favourite?
Well, funnily enough, the paintings by Adolf Wolfi. I know the perspective is crazy and all over the place, but the work is so detailed.
Well, look at the great artists like Picasso and Matisse. Perspective or lack of it was never an issue with them.
Oddly, whilst I appreciate that style in outsider art, I can't say the same for modern art. I guess it's because I don't approach the two art forms with the same set of expectations.
Interesting. You mean you expect more of artists with obvious skill and a professional training like Picasso and Matisse?
I guess so. You know, I expect modern artists to use conventions like perspective at least. And another thing, I can't really understand why modern artists are often so highly acclaimed by critics, whilst outsider artists are virtually ignored. That's probably because they are generally not as skillful, I suppose.
I take your point. I imagine that with the exception of outsider artists, you tend to like work by more traditional artists.
I suppose. Like everyone, I can appreciate Renaissance art as exemplified by Da Vinci and Michelangelo, amazing technique and all that, and I also understand the popularity of Impressionist artists too.
One other question. What's your opinion of modern sculpture? Do you have the same opinion of modern sculpture as you do of modern painting?
I think all sculptors have to be pretty skilled to work with materials like metal and stone, so I admire them in a way. But many modern sculptures, particularly public artworks, are often given praise I feel they don't deserve.
You seem to have quite definite views about art. Well, it was most interesting hearing your views.
That's the end of section 3. You have half a minute to check your answers.
Part 4.
You'll hear part of an art lecture. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
I have just shown you all some slides of a very varied set of paintings. I noticed, as I was showing the slides, a few giggles in the audience and a few looks of dismay. I guess entitling my lecture Unconventional Art Geniuses was a bit misleading. When most of you were looking at the frankly basic colour use and rather primitive painting techniques, you probably were more than a little surprised. Well, I have a shock for you all. What I'm about to tell you next will help you understand the title of my lecture. All the slides I showed you previously are of artworks made by, wait for it, animals. Yes, I heard a few gasps in the audience when I said that. Whilst the artwork would be definitely primitive by human standards, when you consider that the artworks were executed by animals, then, well, they are frankly staggering. Nor were the artworks purely the work of our closest relatives, the apes. No, they were produced by animal artists drawn from a diverse pool of species, ranging from elephants to gorillas, birds and even sloths. In fact, in recognition of this, last year, London's Grant Museum of Zoology staged what organisers thought was the first interspecies show of paintings by animals. In the show, art was shown from an orangutan, a gorilla and an elephant. Whilst the gorilla and the orangutan produced works that bore a resemblance to the paintings of modern artists de Kooning and Klein, the elephant's work took a more figurative approach in the rendering of a flower pot. Now, before you all go thinking this is a revolutionary discovery, I would like to put the record straight. The contribution animals can make to the art world was highlighted as far back as the 1950s. In this decade, Desmond Morris, celebrated social anthropologist and author of bestsellers such as Body Watching and The Naked Ape, introduced Congo, the painting chimp, to the British public in a TV appearance. Back then, animal art makers were regarded as little more than a novelty. Today, however, animal artists are not viewed so much as novelties, but as sophisticated creators with skills and senses that they use to execute artworks in ways humans never can. As a result of animals being taken more seriously as creators of art, it has become commonplace today for zoos to provide materials to captive animals. The hope is that by giving animals the means to create art, they will be kept physically and mentally stimulated. Obviously, you can't give a lizard a paintbrush and expect it to draw. What the zookeepers do, though, is to give animals species-appropriate art materials and tools. For example, sloth bears, who feed by blowing away dirt from the forest floor to feed on termites, have been given a straw-like apparatus to blow paint onto a canvas. What is one of the most interesting discoveries to come out of all this, though, is the finding that animals voluntarily and instinctively participate in the creation of art. It seems, therefore, that animals derive as much pleasure as humans do in applying paint to canvas or making a clay or plasticine figure. The obvious conclusion to draw from all this is that there are more similarities between man and other animals than some of us might care to admit. However, just to satisfy the sceptics amongst you, there is something I would like to add. So far, the primate and elephant art that has been produced often bears an uncanny resemblance to Western art. Certain conventions are evident in the animal's art that suggests a degree of human intervention. As proof of this, an elephant named Boon Me was actually guided by a keeper who steered the animal's trunk to paint brushstrokes on a canvas. Nevertheless, we should keep an open mind about animal art, as there are just as many examples of artworks that have been completed by animals without human aid.
That is the end of Part 4. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to Part 4. That is the end of the listening test.